Hey, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the FuturePedsRes West, North Central, and Mountain West Regional webinar for the 2024 match cycle. If you're with us for the first time, welcome. If you've attended previous webinars, thank you for joining us again. My name is Estelle Green, my pronouns are she, her, and I am a fourth-year medical student at the Penn State College of Medicine in the UP curriculum located in the Happy Valley of State College, Pennsylvania. And I am serving as one of the co-directors for FuturePedsRes this year.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine Geico. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm currently a fourth-year medical student at Virginia College of Osteopathic Medicine in Blacksburg, Virginia. And I am also serving as one of your co-directors of FuturePedsRes this year. I'd like to take just a moment to share about our exciting collaboration between FuturePedsRes, APPD, ComCep, and AAP SOPT coming up this Thursday, August 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We are having a personal statement webinar that will feature program directors from across the nation and provide pediatric applicants with the necessary tools to craft strong personal statements for the PEDS Match 2024. Please feel free to scan the QR code on the screen or click the Zoom link in the chat to register and join us.
We also want to remind you that we will be having our Mid-Atlantic Part 1 webinar on Tuesday, August 15th, and then the rest of our webinars featuring residency programs from across the country will continue throughout August and September. We will drop the one-time registration link for all of our webinars in the chat, or you can also scan the QR code on the screen to sign up.
Before we start, we'd like to acknowledge our APPD faculty advisor, Dr. Michael Dell, who is the Vice Chair of Education at Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine, as well as Colleen Hughes, who serves as the Associate Executive Director for the APPD. We would also like to acknowledge our ComCep faculty advisor, Dr. Rachel Thompson, who is the Assistant Professor of Pediatrics and Director of Pediatric Fourth-Year Medical Student Education at the Boston Medical Center, Boston University Chobanian and Avedisian School of Medicine. These individuals have made tonight possible, and we are very grateful for their support.
It is now a pleasure to introduce you all to our Assistant Director of Webinars for the West, North Central, and Mountain West regions, Sheena Bedi. She's an MS5 at D.Y. Patil University, India, and she's currently in her internship program.
Thank you for the lovely introduction, Estelle. We would also like to introduce our FPR Webinar Associate Director working hard behind the scene tonight, Denise. And now let's delve into our goals for the night. Welcome everyone joining us tonight. We are so excited to have everyone at the West, North Central and Mountain West Regional webinar and are grateful to all the program directors, assistants, as well as coordinators and residents who have taken out the time to be with us tonight. Our series goals for the regional webinars are providing pediatric residency applicants with foundational knowledge surrounding the virtual interview season, well-rounded insight into the benefits of program by region, devoted time for live Q&A. We will be transitioning into our breakout rooms shortly. In each room, applicants will be able to learn about some of the programs and ask questions near the end. All the breakout rooms are recorded, so if you're interested in learning about other programs that are not in your own breakout room, you can check out our YouTube page later for the recordings. After that, we will move to our resident happy hour. During the resident happy hour, there will be residents and applicants in the breakout rooms to connect, discuss, and get first-hand information about various programs. Please feel free to grab a beverage or snack and have for some fun conversations. Please note that the resident happy hour portion is not going to be recorded. Before we move on, we will have the APPD representatives of Western region states, Dr. Larrabee, Dr. Prakash, and Dr. Sai, who will give us a quick overview of some of the states included in the Western region areas from the APPD leadership in that region. Dr. Larrabee, would you mind starting us off? We also have Dr. Emily Bowman with us. Oh, we're so
Okay,
sorry.
there we go. No worries.
So sorry, Dr. Larrabee.
No worries. Yeah, we are delighted to co-introduce this webinar because it spans actually 2 different APPD regions. So I'm Jerry Larrabee, and I'm an Associate Program Director at University of New Mexico. And I have stepped into the role of the chair for the Western region of the APPD, which includes the Mountain West. And with me, I have Dr. Emily Shope. Do you want to introduce yourself, Emily? Oh, she also can't unmute. Can you guys make that happen for her?
Give us 1 second. So
No worries. There we go.
This is just good warm-ups for the virtual interviews.
That's
I like
right.
to have like multiple Zoom snafus on these webinars, so all of our students feel very comfortable as they go out onto their interview days. Yeah, I suspect for many of the students, this sort of regional distinctions between APPD and the electronic residency application regions will feel confusing. It's confusing to us too, but really all you need to know is there's a bunch of great programs that are in the West and what I would call the Midwest, but what the American Association of Medical Colleges calls West, North, Central. And we want to just kind of tell you a little bit about our 2 regions. When you go to apply for residency, you will be given the opportunity, if you choose to take it, to indicate up to 3 regions that are your preference of place to train. You don't have to do that, but that's why we're showing you these regions, so you're thinking about it in the way your residency application will be set up for you. So I'm Emily Borman-Shope. I'm at the University of Minnesota. I am the residency program director there. I'm a general pediatrician by clinical training, and I also have a leadership position in our Program Directors National Association, like Dr. Larrabee.
Next slide. And so, yeah, this is another graphic that demonstrates those regions for you. And yeah, so I'm in the Mountain West, and Dr. Shope is in the West, North, Central. Next slide. So yeah, there are a number of programs scattered about these 2 regions, and some pictures that might, entice you to want to train in one of these places. But yeah, you can see that it's, if you go to the next slide, you can see that, yeah, there's an enormous variety of landscape and weather, mountains from the Mountain West all the way to farmlands in the Midwest, and some desert regions as well. And with this comes a diverse population of children and families with many languages, cultures, and histories. Opportunities to explore a wide range of interests, whether you're interested in the outdoors. There's many of the programs sit and reside within some major metropolitan areas, but it's always easy to just get away with the amount of outdoor opportunities and beauty. Next slide. Dr. Shope.
Yeah, I always kind of chuckle to myself when any of us give an overview of our program. And of course, you're going to experience this when you look at our websites, that we all seem pretty similar. It's because there are many similar things. Pediatricians are great people in general, so welcome to the best field of medicine. But I think, we all really have to offer is both broad-based training as well as the opportunity to experience a variety of pediatric subspecialties. I think the things you'll be looking at when you're looking at programs is, do they have a niche area that I'm interested in, whether that's quality improvement, community engaged work, advocacy, I think the patient population that you may care for will vary quite a bit by the program you're looking at. So that's a great thing to think about when you're looking at programs. And certainly when I was looking at the list of, our Mountain West and West North Central region, I do think the ability to be out in nature and get outdoors and have that balance between your work life and your life outside of work is a core feature of many of our programs, and so very important to us.
So yeah, good luck to you all. And yeah, that's our introduction.
Thank you so much, Dr. Larrabee, and thank you so much, Dr. Emily, for such a wonderful presentation of what both these regions, Mountain West and West North Central, have to offer. And now I would like to introduce our participating programs for tonight. Attendees, please take a moment to pull out your phones and snap a picture of this screen to easily refer back to when bouncing around breakout rooms. This particular slide will also remain shared in the main room during the entirety of our webinar. We will now be going into our breakout rooms. Throughout the webinar, you can ask questions using the chat box on Zoom. You can also amplify insights or what you have learned about the webinar on Twitter using hashtag FPRWebinar and hashtag PedsMatch2024. Afterwards, our amazing program director panel will log off and our resident panel will join us from 8 to 8:30 Central Time, 9 to 9:30 Eastern Time PM to share their experiences and answer any and every question from the audience. We will now give everyone a few minutes to join their respective rooms.
All right. We'll go ahead and give a few moments to let the attendees trickle in. I'd like to remind program representatives to also please add your institution and program affiliation to your Zoom display name. Attendees, like Sheena mentioned, go ahead and take a moment to pull out your phones and snap a picture of the screen if you haven't done so already, so that way you can have time to go ahead and go through the breakout rooms as you please. And attendees, I'd like to offer some guidance with navigating the breakout rooms. To join a different breakout room, go ahead and select breakout room and then join, and then go ahead and join the breakout room of your choice. To return to the main breakout room, select leave room and then leave the breakout room. All right, I think I gave everyone some time to trickle in. Welcome everyone to room 1. My name is Denise Cruz. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a 4th-year medical student at the Alabama College of Osteopathic Medicine. And I also serve as the Associate Director of Webinars. I will be your moderator this evening, and I would also like to introduce our FPR Associate Director of Equity that is working hard behind the scenes tonight, Kiana. I would also like to invite our program representatives to give a short presentation of their programs for 5 minutes for the first part of the evening, and then we will take questions after all of the presentations. Attendees, you can, however, leave your questions in the chat as we go. We also encourage programs to make sure to use the chat to answer any questions you can in case we run out of time afterwards. And to ensure that all programs are adequately represented, each presentation is limited to 5 minutes. When you hear my timer go off, that signifies that you have 30 seconds remaining, and then go ahead and gather your thoughts and we'll move on to the next program. Our first program of the evening is Phoenix Children's. Go ahead and unmute yourself and please tell us about your program.
Hi, everybody. My name is Gabby Moros. I'm one of the chief residents at Phoenix Children's. We're excited to have you guys all here. A little bit about our program. We're a larger sized program. We have 36 categorical peds interns, 4 child neurology, 6 med peds, and we'll be starting to have 1 peds genetics. So we're a larger class program. This is our 2nd year of X+Y scheduling. We're a 3+1 system. So 3 weeks of your core rotations with 1 week of clinic, continuity clinics, and longitudinal electives that differ between PGY1, PGY2, and PGY3. We have several programs or medical schools that rotate within our hospital system. There's several medical schools here in the city of Phoenix. We have University of Arizona, Mayo Clinic, Creighton. We also have AT Still, College of Osteopathic Medicine, and Western and Midwestern, all medical students that rotate through our program. Since we have affiliations with University of Arizona and Creighton, they also help us with our research endeavors as well. We have lots of opportunities for health equity and diversity here in Phoenix. We serve a very diverse patient population with being so close to Mexico. And then we have a lot of initiatives. We have a HEAL curriculum, which if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer. We have underrepresented in medicine medical student come here and rotate with us. We have a mentorship program for underrepresented people in medicine, and then women in medicine. As far as where we are, we're in the city of Phoenix, a large city here in Arizona. And like I'm sure you'll hear from a lot of places here, very close to lots of outdoor life, very close to Sedona, Grand Canyon. We have people go skiing in Flagstaff in the winter. Lots of things to do around this area. We have lots of residents, and we're split between a couple of cohorts for an X+Y system. And that really allows people to get together, and we really encourage them to do so during their weeks when their schedule's a little bit later. So we'd be happy to answer any questions a little bit later.
Yeah, thanks, Gabby. So I'm Renee. I'm also one of the chief residents for Phoenix Children's. And so just to quickly highlight some of the things as it pertains to our education. So we do academic half-day block conferences on Thursdays, as well as offering intern report during Wednesday afternoons, morning report on Friday mornings. We also do grand rounds on Tuesdays. Residents are able to partner with attendings on various teaching activities, such as our new case-based type of curriculum, Consulting Pearls. And then we also really are pushing our resident wellness, and that we have a dedicated wellness program administrator who helps with doing some of our house cup activities. So each Y week, there's a certain amount of funds that are available for about 15 residents to come together, as well as with significant others, and they can get reimbursed to do different activities together. So we encourage intra-class communication. We joke about our med peds folks being the X factor to help you get those points. And depending on if you are the winning house at the end of the fall or the spring, you also get an additional $500. Some people did a paint and sip night, others actually did they did a pool party, barbecue type of thing. Another thing that we also include is that there's a generous meal stipend for each site that you do your rotations, as well as free parking, and that's just a huge perk and benefit. We also do 401k where they'll match up to a certain percentage in terms of the institution itself. And so I believe that covers everything that we can do in our 5-minute time frame. Thank you again for allowing us to participate.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, guys. We'll go ahead and give a few seconds for the attendees to join in if they want to watch this program presentation. Next up, we have St. Louis University, SSM Cardinal Glennon. Go ahead and unmute and let's hear about your program.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kayla Heller. I am the program director here at St. Louis University. Cardinal Glennon Hospital is a really great hospital kind of in the middle of downtown St. Louis. We have a really large NICU and PICU. Our residents actually work at 2 separate NICU sites, which we can talk more about later. We have level 1 trauma center. Our residents get a lot of emergency room activity there, and then we have a large inpatient service. We also have an open ICU with a step down unit, so I feel like our residents get a lot of acuity in terms of what they're able to manage on their general pediatric inpatient service as well. So our residents are really well versed in taking care of very complex patients with a high degree of illness severity. So I think that that's a really unique feature of our program. We do not do X+Y scheduling, and part of the reason for that is our residents are very embedded in our continuity clinic at Donnie Pediatric we see a huge amount of primary care volume that comes through our clinic. We are the primary Medicaid home for most of the children in our area. And so we see a lot of our patients from underserved areas within both the St. Louis city. St. Louis is a little bit unique. It has two sides of the river. So there's a St. Louis, Missouri, and then there's also an Illinois side of the city that has a lot of patients that come to our center as well. And so we have a lot of important work being done in our clinic that partners with community resources. Our residents do a month of clinic in the Donnie Pediatric Center that focuses on those bridges with community services early in their intern year. And that's to really help our residents understand what's available locally that can help our residents a lot, or excuse me, our patients a lot. And then they continue to have that advocacy connection with their continuity clinic, which is once a week. And so we did not feel that X+Y scheduling was best for our patients or our residents, because our residents really value having clinic once a week where they're really enmeshed with their patients. And so that's one of the highlights of our program, is that advocacy is taught very early and then is integrated regularly throughout your residency here with us. We also have a large research consortium, the SLU Corps, and we have a full-time faculty member that is dedicated to helping our trainees achieve more research and to build scholarly work, which I think is also really important. And that's something that we're building momentum on. We have one of our associate program directors who is in charge of our resident wellness initiatives. We have a wide budget and staff to help with our resident wellness. We have free behavioral health resources. We have really supportive parental leave policies. We have many of our residents who choose to start families, and our program is very supportive of that. We are able to host wellness events every month on campus for our residents, as well as events off campus that include faculty involvement and faculty support for the residents. So I think that's great. And then one of the things that they asked us to share was the 3 words that kind of are very important to our residents. And so I asked the residents what they thought those words should be, and they came up with community minded or community focused. Like I talked about already, our residents are really, really dedicated to the kids of St. Louis and are willing to work really hard for those patients. But they're also community minded when it comes to each other, and a lot of residency collaboration and resident support. The residents also said they were uplifting, and that described their culture. They're a lot of fun. They are a high energy group. We really love supporting each other, and we think that when one of us wins, we all win. So I think that that's really important mechanism of our culture. And then dedicated. Our residents are very, very hardworking. They are dedicated to patient care and also to each other. So I think that that sums us up pretty well with those 3 words.
You guys are all doing amazing with the time. My timer is not even going off. Perfect. I'll wait a couple more seconds before our next program presentation. And next up, we have Full Circle Health Pediatrics Residency of Idaho. Go ahead and unmute, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you. I hope that I will honor your clock as well as my 2 predecessors did. My name is Perry Brown. I serve as program director for the brand new Full Circle Health Pediatrics Residency of Idaho. And before I dive into our program, the 2 things I'd say is, number 1, congratulations, you are choosing a great career. Pediatrics is awesome, and we're really excited to have you join us. And the second thing I would say is it's really fun hearing about how other programs do things, because there is a certain richness to each program and each one brings something special. So our program is perhaps the newest active program in the country. We just welcomed our first class of residents about a month ago, and are now currently recruiting for our second class, and will eventually fill to a very small 4-4-4 program. We decided to start small, build a great foundation, and then consider expanding from there. We're also unique in a couple of other ways. We are not based at a university, hospital, or medical school. We are based out of a federally qualified health center, Full Circle Health. but we are closely allied and associated with St. Luke's Children's Hospital, which is the most geographically isolated children's hospital in the lower 48. So even though Boise, Idaho has a metro population of 850,000 people, our catchment area is about 1.8 million in terms of children. So we additionally, because we are based at a federally qualified health center, we have a very community-focused approach to our residency. We are very longitudinal clinic focused. It's a central foundation of our program. We have a brand new clinic that was just opened up about 8 months ago that is in a wonderful location in town and is very busy. Residents will spend about 20% of their total time in their continuity clinic, having really great exposure to general pediatrics and, really accomplishing great continuity with their patients, really getting to know their patients and their families. We are an X+Y scheduled program. It's a little bit different. We're 3.2 plus 0.8, which is a little bit funky, but that's the way it is. It's working very, very well so far. We're really excited about it. And despite being a newer program that's geographically isolated, we have the full gamut of pediatric subspecialty care here in Boise. The only things that we ship out are cardiothoracic surgery and solid organ transplant. We do everything else here. Our curriculum includes, as I said, it's really focused on the longitudinal clinic, but we still meet, certainly we have to, all of the ACGME requirements. So that includes a total of 24 weeks hospitalist, 8 weeks PICU, 8 weeks NICU, opportunities to do more if you want, 4 weeks newborn nursery. We actually have a 4-week block in the R1 year and another one in the R2 year where the entire class comes together for a block on advocacy and community pediatrics, including legislative advocacy and such. We have a total of 10 weeks of dedicated rural rotations. So 2 weeks in the R1 year, 4 weeks in the R2 year, 4 weeks in the R3 year. And we've got several smaller towns where there are isolated pediatricians for our residents to train with. So really a very varied curriculum that is primary care focused, but we are absolutely excited and welcome training residents who want to get a really good clinical focus and then want to pursue a fellowship in whatever it is that they want to do. I guess a few other things. Boise is one of the original 12 refugee resettlement gateways. So we have a pretty diverse population, even though we're in a very homogeneous state, if you look at it as a state, but Boise itself is relatively diverse. We have great access to the outdoors, and really the best benefits of being in a large city, while in 15 minutes being able to be fly fishing on a river and 30 minutes skiing down a slope. It's really a pretty remarkable location. What other things? I think the last thing that I would say is I am blown away by what an amazing first class we've been able to recruit. I think we're off to a really great start. There's an incredible amount of community and hospital and pediatrician excitement around all of this. And as the first residency program in Idaho, we're really proud of what we're standing up. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. Check out our website. We've tried to make it pretty complete. And I think I finished in time.
That was beautiful, Dr. Brown. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll go ahead and give a few seconds before we move on to the next program. I know there's been some issues with switching rooms, so give it a little bit of time for this one. All right, next up, University of Utah. Please go ahead and unmute yourselves and we'll hear about your program.
Hey all, and welcome Perry to the Intermountain West PEDS programs. And my name is Bruce. Herman, and I am one of the 3 representatives of our program, greeting you from the beautiful Wasatch Mountains of Utah. Emily talked about finding a program with your niche. I won't say our niche is that you don't have to have a niche, and that regardless of what you want to go on to do, be it basic science, funded subspecialty researcher, or global or rural pediatrician, we are prepared to train you to do that. We have the largest geographic catchment area of any children's hospital in the entire country. And we can provide you with any amount of education and or training opportunities to do exactly what it is that you want to do. And I will let our chiefs, Allie and Ian, tell you more about this place.
Thanks, Bruce. Hey guys, I'm Ian Lovren. I'm one of the 2 pediatric chief residents here at Utah. I'll kind of quickly run through some curriculum highlights and then let Allie tell you a little bit more about the other services we have with the program. So we are a standalone children's hospital that's affiliated with the University of Utah, and then also staff the NICU and nursery at the University Hospital. Our second standalone primary children's hospital will be opening in the spring of 2024, which we are really excited about, providing more of a unique resident-driven wards opportunity as well. We staff 2 primary general pediatric clinic sites, and as part of the X+Y schedule, we have 3 weeks of primary rotation followed by 1 week of ambulatory experience. Our X+Y schedule has allowed us to add a lot of enrichment into those ambulatory weeks, including longitudinal advocacy, and then followed by adolescent health experiences in the 1st and 2nd years, and then a good system of kind of graduated autonomy for the extra experiences of that ambulatory week, may it be research or additional advocacy work or more longitudinal exposure to subspecialty and interests that a resident may have. Our South Main Clinic site serves a lot of the minority patient populations of the city, and allows patients a good opportunity to practice medical Spanish and get more of medical home feel, as well as help with the training of the University of Utah PA program that helps to staff that clinic. And then kind of let Allie tell you a little bit more about some of the other initiatives of the program.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Ian. Hi, everybody. I'm Allie Armstrong. I'm one of the other chief residents at University of Utah. So great being able to chat with you all. In addition to what Ian said, a few other cool aspects of our program is one called the GRECH program, which is our Global Rural and Underserved program that has multiple established sites where residents can go and rotate and learn more about rural and underserved medicine. And we also have an educational curriculum that's woven into that as well. We also have a resident as teacher curriculum, which is focused for those who are interested in a career in academic medicine or in any sort of teaching pursuits. And then we also have a U-Star program, which is focused on a dedicated research elective as well, or elective track, excuse me. And we can talk more about those later too. I also like to add, as Bruce mentioned, we're surrounded by the Wasatch Mountains. We are close access to multiple ski resorts and close proximity for mountain biking and canyoneering and fishing. Also, we have multiple cool national parks nearby as well. So lots of good opportunities to get outside and focus on wellness. And we also have a resident-driven wellness program as well. Thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much, University of Utah. That was beautiful. We're going to go ahead and move on to our live Q&A portion of the session. That concludes our program overview. If anyone prefers to remain anonymous, please feel free to send me a personal message and I'll address your question to the program representatives. And don't be shy, go ahead and unmute. Oh, that was your timer. Go ahead and unmute and we'll go ahead and start the Q&A portion. All right, while we wait for someone to unmute, we do have a question coming in the chat. And this question says, how will programs utilize geographic area preference?
I can go first on this one. Nobody's going. I think that we use it as one of the many factors when we're looking at your application. For us, especially being in the Midwest, we like to know if you're excited about being in the Midwest with us, but it's not the only thing we look at. So it certainly can be helpful in gauging a candidate's level of interest in our program, but it's not the only thing. And I think like every program, we really want people who are enthusiastic and who are excited to join us and who fit in with our program. And that looks like a lot of pieces of the puzzle, not just their geographic preferences.
And if I might jump in, I agree with everything that Kayla just said. The one thing that's a little bit different about our program, one of our missions is basically training pediatricians who might want to stay in Idaho and the rural Northwest afterwards. Idaho has consistently either ranked 50th or 51st in the US in terms of the number of pediatricians per 100,000 children. So this is a very underserved population. And one of the things that we take into account, I would say at a minor level, not at a top level by any means, is this someone who might choose to stick around or might choose to come back after fellowship training? So that's one other consideration that we take into account.
I'll go next, if I may. And we use it as a minor criteria as well. Certainly, we do not limit it to that. And that is exemplified by the fact that our residents come from 32 different states, including med schools in Hawaii, Alaska, the WWAMI program in Alaska, Allie from Montana, as well as, we go to Florida, to Maine, to California. So our residents come from everywhere in the country. And so therefore, we try not to limit ourselves. And many of our residents have said that they never would have guessed that they would have come here until they came and interviewed with us. So we try not to limit ourselves based upon geographic preferencing.
Same with Phoenix Children's. We do a holistic review of all applications and signaling. We know it's new, vibe to the application scenario. And so it doesn't change in a sense of, how the applicant is actually viewed or how they're evaluated. And so we have residents from Florida. Gabby is the representative from Florida, and then I'm from California. Then we also have residents from the Northeast. We get the Midwest connection, Texas, of course, Arizona. We get Nevada, all over the US, even international graduates. So it's still us learning, but not changing how we do our official evaluation of an applicant.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I know geographic area preference is something new, so it's very great to hear that you guys have a holistic approach mostly for applicants. Another question that we had is let's see, this one says, how should I talk about academic struggles? Would it be best described in the personal statement or the impactful experiences or anywhere else?
I'll break the silence. We are looking for residents who are resilient and have a growth mindset. And so those do not limit or keep you from being able to come look at our program. We've had chiefs who have failed a STEP exam. So, I mean, we try not to limit ourselves and again, look at the holistic review. I would encourage you personally, just having read many, many personal statements, to mention it in one of those two places, just to say, hey, this is what I learned from this experience, and this is how I've grown, and this is how I've become a stronger person. And I'll let others comment.
I just think it's important to address it. And what I mean by that is part of resilience is insight, and that growth piece that Bruce was just mentioning. I think that the best approach is to own your journey and to talk about how your journey has helped you grow. And that's a pretty powerful statement.
I agree. And I think for me, and I think for many pediatric programs, and it sounds like everybody on the call, we understand that no one is perfect and that people have struggles and that people go through a lot. And so I think being honest about any sort of academic difficulties, and the biggest focus is how you overcome and what you took from that and how you were able to move forward and how you're going to use those lessons in your future training. I think that's really what we're looking for. And that is something that if you don't disclose or you don't share in a way we can have that conversation, we never get to learn how you powered through those difficulties. So we appreciate you taking the time to share those with us. And it also helps us be sure that we can share the resources that our programs have to help you. A lot of our programs are going to have additional academic supports in place for residents who may identify that they need extra support. And if you share that with us early, then we can help with that along your path.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Another question that we have is, with most applicants having a pass or fail step 1 this season, how will a scored step 1 be assessed? And especially for DO applicants as well. I know, Dr. Brown, thank you for answering that in the chat. There was another one that came in about pass fail as well, so that's perfect timing.
I'll support what Perry said. We blind our committee to their step scores. So no worries.
And going off of that, what are program directors looking for in an applicant, with that being pass fail as well, and what can make a strong applicant?
I think that there's so many different factors. I mean, really, if we as program directors ideally are doing our job well, we are looking at things very holistically, looking at every angle that we possibly can glean from a student's application. So we look some at academic performance, but we look a lot at life story and journey, what people have overcome in their resilience, what their life missions are, how they work as teammates. There's just so many different pieces for us to bring into consideration that it's a little bit hard to really sum it up.
Thank you. Another question we have is, what is a change to your program you are excited about in the coming year or years? And this is open to all program representatives.
I have something that I think is exciting at our program, and it ties a little bit to one of the questions that I can see in the chat as well. We are working on building a really robust community-based mental health model for our rotation for our residents to be engaged with, and partnering with a lot of services that our patients are using and working to kind of make that stronger. We're doing a partnership with our law school and their Masters of Health Law kind of specialization within their law school to provide more legal advocacy for our patients as well. And so I think our residents really diving deeper into community mental health is something that I'm really excited to see our program build over the next academic year. So have that up and running by the time any of these students would be with us. And I also think that that helps in terms of supporting residents in their own mental health, is just having open conversations and minimizing any barriers or stigma around that. We have formal programs and formal resources within our institution to support residents, but I also think there needs to be a wider cultural change in healthcare and in medicine that really provides wraparound services and normalization of people who are struggling. That's my double answer for both those questions.
I was going to have Ian or Allie mention something, but Ian just put a long text in about how we support it. But we will support you through anything and everything, from physical to mental to just needing support. And we had a traumatic event last week at our hospital that affected many of our residents. And, we just reached out and asked each individual how we could best get them through that. And we'll support you where you are, when you are.
Yeah, I think that that is such an important piece, again, to every residency. And we're relatively small, but Full Circle Health isn't new to residencies. We actually have 4 family medicine residencies, and at any given moment, about 85 residents that we're training. So the pediatrics residency is new. The family medicine residencies are not. Our infrastructure and GME knowledge is not new. In terms of what am I excited about that is new, everything is new right now for us. But we just came up with an idea that we're going to implement with our interns. Pediatric psychiatry and behavioral health is such an important part of pediatrics that, at least in my generation, I didn't feel as well trained for. So we're going to actually embed each of our residents with the pediatric psychiatrists for clinic for 2 weeks during their R1 year, and then have it be a longitudinal experience for the rest of their residency, where they go back at least for a full day every other block, so that they continue to have that experience, be able to run their tough patients by the pediatric psychiatrists and get that learning reinforced. So that was just a new idea that popped up that we're running with.
One thing that at Phoenix Children's that we were really excited that was implemented last year was us switching to the X+Y schedule. That has allowed for us to really have that intra-class as well as interclass hanging out within the respective cohorts, but also getting those outside the cohorts to spend time together. Because one of the things that we kept doing in our surveys is we kept mentioning, we just want to hang out. And so what program leadership decided is they found a way to get us some resources to say, hey, that's all you want to do. Here's a gift card. You all go to your brunch spot, take a picture to document you actually went and that it's residents there, and you can get some house cup points, but also you're doing what you said you want to do. Because a lot of times when you say, okay, we're going to do our wellness initiative, some people are like, I have to go to a workshop on wellness. That's not what I want to do for my wellness. So we take it from, this is what was part of the survey, this is what people wanted, and it has caused a huge morale boost overall, because people feel that I'm actually doing what's best for me in terms of my wellness. I'm being heard and I'm getting these opportunities. And we've continued to keep that program going. It's going into a reimbursement model. So during your Y week, you get a group of your friends together within your cohort, and you'll get about up to $200. You can stack them up to 3 times. So max if you don't do anything the previous Y weeks, and you basically get to find what you want to do. Right now it's the summertime, so a lot of pool parties and barbecues have been going on. Another thing that we have done is really utilizing concepts of positive psychology, which comes out of the movement within psychology, to really align people's purpose. So how you view your role in medicine and aligning that with the mission and vision of our program. So that way, you know, what I'm doing is going to help make me a better doctor for my ultimate purpose. So we're really utilizing those elements and those concepts to help move in that direction and bring those positive psychology theories that's also used by the military into our program.
To hear that all your programs prioritize wellness. Thank you guys. Some questions coming in to with the new changes to the 10 total activities, what are your thoughts on removing the separate hobby section? Will it seem like listing a hobby is just trying to fill a spot?
we like to know and learn more about our applicants, regardless of what it is that they do. Certainly, there are many aspects of the Intermountain West that make outdoor interest mesh well. So that's certainly something we look at, but not look for, if that makes sense. And so, we want to learn more about you and who you are. So however we can better learn that, or you can better tell us, the better.
And some of my most memorable conversations from interviewing applicants has been surrounded on what they list as a hobby, because by talking with a candidate about that, I can get them to open up and share some of the things that really they're passionate about in life. And that's such a more valuable conversation for me than some of the more basic questions about other facets of the application. So I like having that just as a window into your personality.
And I would absolutely agree with that. Very well stated.
Awesome, thank you. And a question about what makes your program unique from others and what sets it apart? I know you guys have been talking about a lot of things about your program, but also how can a program gauge the culture, or how can an applicant gauge the culture of a program on a Zoom interview?
So I'll start with what makes Phoenix Children's unique as a program. During your second and third year, you do what's called a resident longitudinal experience. The acronym is RLE. And so you would spend time on whatever you're interested in, whether it's a subspecialty or you want to do gen peds. You'll be set up with, during your Y week, 1 full day or 2 half days in which you would do your RLE, which is supposed to promote mentorship. It's supposed to promote clinical as well as scholarship. And what we mean by scholarship is scholarly output. So whether you're doing case reports or you're doing quality improvement, those are things that's supposed to do. And that is something that you would mention to the program director towards the end of your intern year of, hey, I'm interested in allergy. I talked with so-and-so. They said my RLE day will be this day. The program director would then email both parties to say, this is the RLE, this is the date, and this is what's expected, so that everyone knows that that's what you're going to do. And so just to give you a quick idea, our colleagues going into GI, they mentioned when they did their interviews for GI fellowship, they're the only ones who could do a full scope, whether it's colonoscopy, endoscopy, by themselves. And most of their colleagues who were applying hadn't even touched the scope itself. And so there's a lot of training you'll get with doing the RLE. And I think the last question that you had asked is tying into how people can gauge the culture of a program, is that the best way to do this is you guys are asking some of the greatest questions. I just went through a fellowship interest group talk, and one of the things that they said we can ask is, you can always direct the questions, what can your program do for me? So it's very easy. I can talk in broad strokes of, this is what we do for residents for this, but then you can say, what can your program do for me if I have to take paternity leave? What can your program do for me and my situation? So you personalize it, and you can get an idea of, if they don't know the answer, who will know the answer? Which residents will know the answer? Who can they connect me to? Who can answer my question? And in terms of our maternity, paternity leave, we have robust policy that's in place that we just introduced within the past few years. That includes to making sure compliance in terms of with ACGME as well as with the institution, so that you can get your paid family leave, et cetera. So that's kind of tying into the last question in the chat.
Yes, we can go next for Utah. I think a nice facet of the program that I think is unique from what I remember going through this myself a few years back is the flexibility that our program offers in terms of what the career goals, but also what the interests during residency are for the residents. I think we frame it a lot as, what can you be doing during residency? What can we be doing to help you ultimately with your career? But also acknowledging that not everything you are doing in residency has to be something that you're going to be doing for the rest of your career. So instead of focusing on specific tracks, we offer a lot of these experiences to supplement, such as our Global Rural Health Initiative, the USTAR Initiative, a formalized curriculum of QI, high value care and patient safety. But experiencing one of those things doesn't lock you into a track or doesn't exclude you from some of the other more robust longitudinal experiences. And people are also free to sample individual options from those things to create the curriculum that they most want. And I think that pairs really well with a pretty flexible, but also like encompassing system of mentorship, in that most residents are going to pair up or be paired up with many different mentors that are going to help with different facets of what they want their lives and careers to look like, and not necessarily like a primary career mentor. Our X+Y schedule lets us, kind of similar to what you were mentioning in Phoenix, have more of like a longitudinal experience in those second and third years, whether it be research-based or a subspecialty clinic you may want to participate in to further explore some of those things. In terms of parental support for both leave and support during the programs, we offer as Allie's kind of putting in here, competitive like FMLA, everything ACGME regulated in terms of time off. We have a formalized scheduling system that we keep in place for mothers coming back from maternity leave that need to do any pumping or have any breaks on the rotations that they are on, which is instituted and helped managed by the chiefs and the program directors to make sure they have that protected time. And then within this past year, we actually had a wellness grant from the GME that was approved to obtain some mobile pumping supplies and better environment for those residents to be able to do that while on shift at the hospitals.
Maybe I'll just jump in next. I know we're getting tight on time. In terms of what's unique about our program, the most obvious things, again, are we're new, we're growing, and we're small compared to these other programs. And small is, in my view at least, exciting and good. People are really going to know you. You're really going to get to know them. We are very much a family, but I think even big pediatric residencies are families too. I remember mine, and I felt so bonded to them. But being in a smaller, very community engaged program, I think is exciting. If you're the type of person that likes to build things and help optimize things, we are a perfect place for you. Our first classes of residents are going to be leaving a legacy and are going to be really helping to continue to grow and give us great new ideas for our residency. And yet we already are very well built and functioning very smoothly. And then, in terms, I think we probably all have very similar, if I had to guess, parental leaves. Our program, we just had our first intern go out on parental leave. It was not a problem at all. We were totally excited for her. We offer up to 12 weeks of paid parental leave. We're incredibly supportive of that. And I don't know how we couldn't be and still call ourselves pediatricians. So.
Perfect on the timing. Thank you, Dr. Brown. That is the end of our program portion of the evening, and hopefully everyone got the chance to learn a bit more about the West, North, Central, and Mountain West programs have to offer. Just want to repeat how grateful we are all for the program directors, the coordinators, and the chief residents and other representatives who took time to join us tonight. We'll now kindly request our program representatives to log off as we transition to our resident panel of the evening. Thank you, everyone.
Welcome everyone to room 2. My name is Divya Keval Ramani and my pronouns are she and her. I am a research fellow at University of Pittsburgh Medical Center currently, and I will be your moderator this evening. I would also like to introduce you to Alex.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex. I'm an IMG from Ecuador, and I'm the Associate Director of Research here at FPR. I'll be working behind the scenes today.
Thank you, Alex. I would like to invite our program representatives to give a short presentation on their program for 5 minutes for the first part of the evening, and then we will take questions after all of the presentations. Attendees, you can however leave your questions in the chat as we go. We also encourage programs to make use of the chat to answer any questions they can in case we run out of time. To ensure that all programs are adequately represented, each presentation is limited to 5 minutes. When you hear my timer go off, like that, please begin to wrap up your thoughts as that will signify that you have 30 seconds remaining. Our first program for the evening is University of Missouri, Columbia. I would like to invite your representative to please unmute and tell us about your program.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anish Tosh, Program Director at the University of Missouri, and I'm joined by Landon. Landon, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Landon Olson. I am a third-year chief resident here at the University of Missouri, Columbia. Go Tigers!
Absolutely. Yes, we're the Mizzou Tigers here. I'm really excited to join you all. I agree with Dr. Borman-Shope at the intro. Pediatrics is the best field of medicine. So again, congratulations on your decision to join Peds. We all have a lot of fun here while working hard, taking care of our kids, and that's not just our program, that's really all the programs. There's great programs here today, and really excited to share our program with you for the next few minutes. We're really excited about two exciting changes coming, which would be your intern year, summer of 2024. We are moving into a brand new children's hospital in Columbia, Missouri. It's the largest expenditure in MU healthcare history. So we're really excited about being part of that process, and really nice to see that focus on children's health in our community. And like many other programs you've heard about, moving to an X+Y scheduling format, as well as part of our move to our new children's hospital. So really excited about those changes next year. We have 8 residents per year, which I love that size. It lets me know each one of my residents in our program. And we have a 2-to-1 faculty to resident ratio. So we get great mentorship here at Mizzou. It's nice. One of the nice things about being in a smaller program. We have a dedicated advocacy track here at Mizzou. We have 2 senior residents per class, second and third year class, involved with formal mentoring and advocacy projects. But even if you're not part of that formal track, we have an advocacy day. Jefferson City is the state capital. It's about 30 minutes south of Columbia, Missouri, so very easy for us to get to our state capital and do legislative advocacy. And then as far as wellness is concerned, that really is a priority for our program, as it is for most PEDS programs. We take votes when we have a decision to be made that, for example, we decided to go for no 24-hour shifts. That was done by a vote by our residents. We also do 1 week of nights at a time. That was also voted on by our residents. So we really tried to put our residents involved with our decision making. At the very bottom, you'll see our Instagram, and we have a couple of our second-year residents really involved with kind of upping our social media presence. And if you look recently, there was our knitting club is new, and you can see if you go onto our Instagram some social media about our knitting club. And then I want to tell you a little bit about Columbia, Missouri. It's a great town. I did undergrad and med school here. I left for my residency and fellowship, but came right back. So Columbia really is home for me. It's a great college town, about 100,000 population, great parks and rec. So I think that's kind of our hidden gem here in Columbia, Missouri. Of course, we have college sports, but even if sports is not your thing, I love our parks. We have a great dog park. Almost all of our residents have some sort of fur baby, cat or dog or otherwise. And so it's just a really nice community as well. And so it's, I think, a great place to work, but also a great place to live. I think we're probably running out of time, but hand things off to Landon if you want to add anything else. And then Dahlia, one of our other chiefs, will be joining us for the resident-only session.
Yeah, I feel like we have a great program. We have a culture in the program, of helping others, and like Dr. Tosh said, I always feel like we're well heard. We help make decisions in the program, and I think that's one of my favorite things is being able to have a say and feel like your voice is heard. So other things, I really like the cookie game here. We have a bunch of cookie places in Columbia, which I noticed was omitted from the slide.
We'll have to add that for next year.
Yeah.
If you want to continue, you can go ahead. All right. Thank you, Dr. Olson and Dr. Tosh. Definitely go Tigers. Our next program for the evening is University of North Dakota. I would like to invite your representatives to please unmute and share a little about your program.
Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Tiaxon. I'm a pediatrician and a program director for our brand new program in pediatrics at the University of North Dakota in Fargo. Chris Failing is a peds rheumatologist, and Dr. Stephanie Moen, a neonatologist, are our co-APDs, and they're also here with us today too. We're the primary teaching site for medical students at the University of North Dakota and have been involved in their education for decades and decades. So it's been a very exciting journey for us to take the next step and develop our pediatric residency program. Now, PEDS is new in Fargo, but Fargo is no stranger to graduate medical education. There are residents in internal med, family med, TY, surgery, psych, ortho, neuro, adult hemonc, podiatry. There might be a couple other ones too. So you wouldn't be coming in alone. You'd be already joining a well-established, tight-knit resident community in Fargo. We are a community-based program, and we'll have 4 residents per year starting in 2024. Our clinical partner is Sanford Children's. Sanford is the nation's largest rural healthcare system and is based in the Dakotas. Our residents will learn and work at the Children's Hospital within a hospital at the new Sanford Medical Center. It's about 5 years old. We have 32 peds and PICU beds, for about 45 NICU beds, and we're the state's only level 2 pediatric trauma center. We serve patients from all over the state of North Dakota, kiddos from northwestern Minnesota and some from northeastern South Dakota as well. And we are positioned in the middle of the country and of the continent, with the nearest children's hospitals 240 miles to the south in Sioux Falls and 240 miles to the east in Twin Cities, both of which are, I believe, in our group today. We have a wide range of ped subspecialists, of course, including NICU, PICU, hospitalists, common subs like hemonc, cardiology, IDGI, nephro, et cetera, as well as, of course, rheumatology, developmental peds, and all the peds specialists you could think of, peds surgery, peds ortho, and peds neurosurgery. We feel that helps provide a really complete array of patients to take care of. We also have a very busy urgent care clinic where I do my clinical work at this point, and excellent primary care pediatric practices with a mature pediatric medical home that's been in place for many, many years, and integrated behavioral health triage therapists. We are very fortunate to partner with the University of Minnesota for our adolescent medicine rotation, 2 weeks in Minneapolis and then 2 weeks back here in Fargo doing child and adolescent psych. We feel that having that additional experience in behavioral and mental health is extremely important, since that's one of the key skills that pediatricians need, especially if they're going to be working in more rural areas and being that frontline person. We really want to make sure that our residents will be equipped with the tools to take care of anxiety, depression, ADHD, and other common conditions. As far as emergency medicine training, our residents will spend 4 weeks at Children's of Minnesota at their very high acuity peds emergency department, participating in all the didactics and things that go on when residents are visiting there, as well as 4 weeks back home in Fargo in a more community style emergency department, seeing only kids, and then of course more time in our peds urgent care. Our mission is to train the next generation of pediatricians to practice in a rural state and with underserved communities, and our rotations are designed to create that ideal mix of community-based care with tertiary, subspecialty, and intensive care experiences. We emphasize care of the whole person, professionalism, humanism, and creativity. So what about Fargo? If you've never heard of much about Fargo other than the movie and the TV show, so we'll share a little bit about our hometown. About 200,000 people live in Fargo. The community is right on the border of North Dakota and Minnesota. Our top employers are healthcare, education. There are 3 universities and tech firms, including Microsoft. Schools are great. There's lots to do in town. We have a thriving downtown. Our arts and sports communities are very active, and Minnesota Lakes are only an hour away. And speaking of Fargo, if you want to practice your Fargo accent before you come, just repeat this phrase. There's a boat show at the Fargo Dome. Say that about 5 times and you'll have it down perfect. You'll fit in wonderfully. So with our small program size, we're the ideal environment for residents to build mentoring relationships with their faculty, seek opportunities for research and advocacy. Our local chapter of the AAP is well represented. I'm the chapter president. Our state advocacy lead is one of our rheumatologists and Dr. Failing's partner. So if this sounds like the kind of place you'd like to train, check us out on our Instagram page or on our website. Chris and Stephanie, if we have any more time, do you guys have anything you want to add?
Do not think something really well.
You don't want to show off your accent?
No, I just want to say we're really excited to be starting the PEDS residency, and I think you'll find our team is really close-knit and like a family. We're all really excited to be up here practicing and growing the services for infants and children in the region.
Thank you so much. We'll definitely be practicing our Fargo accent.
Excellent.
Our next program for the evening is University of South Dakota, Sanford. If your representative could please unmute and tell us a little about your program.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kay Wagner. I'm a pediatric oncologist and one of the associate program directors here at the University of South Dakota program. I'm joined tonight by our department chair, Michelle Bach. Michelle, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Michelle Bach, and I'm excited to meet you all and welcome you here today to learn about USD Sanford School of Medicine.
We're really thrilled to get a chance to talk to all of you about our program. You may hear some highlights that sound a little similar to what Dr. Tiongson just shared. We are one of the children's hospitals he talked about that was south of Fargo, which means a little warmer and a little less need to practice the accent. But other than that, we are a program that has 6 residents a year. We are a freestanding children's hospital attached to the Sanford Medical Center, and then we are associated with the University of South Dakota. As Dr. Tiongson mentioned, we're the largest rural healthcare system in the nation. We are very proud of the fact that we have a great mentoring program. We have both a team program and individual mentoring opportunities. And that's true for both our residents and our faculty, which has been really great to foster those connections between everyone that's working together. We're also really excited, something that's not on the slide. We are expanding our emergency medicine program. We have 3 PEDS emergency medicine physicians that are joining the faculty this year. So really excited about that opportunity for our residents. We are also focusing very strongly on resident wellness. There are several other residency programs here, and there's a resident-wide and program-wide focus on wellness and a new committee with a curriculum that's been created in a big part by one of our associate program directors, Dr. Sandine, to focus on health and wellness and the importance of that. We also have a program called Vital Work Life that is there to support residents and their wellness. Another really exciting fact, we are building a new children's park, literally on the hospital front lawn. They have broken ground for that, and it is due to be open in October. So we'd be here for all of you to see and see our patients get to take advantage of when you would join us. I'm going to turn it over to Michelle because one of our other main highlights here is our research, and she is a big part of that. So I'm going to let her share a little bit.
Yeah, we're so fortunate to have a lot of research opportunities, which also allows you a lot of opportunities to grow in scholarly work towards fellowships. Many of our residents actually do go on to fellowships, and that gives you opportunities to travel and meet others at national scientific conferences. We have a wide range of both basic, translational, and some clinical or QI related research or scholarly projects, and a growing scholarly work in medical education and advocacy too. So lots and lots of opportunities that way.
And just to tell you a little bit about Sioux Falls, it's a metro area of about 230,000. We have a large catchment area. We cover from Southwest Minnesota, South Dakota, into Nebraska, and some even into Wyoming. So lots of opportunity to get to see people from a wide range of the Midwest, which is really nice. We're in an easy driving distance from many different activities. If you like to go hiking, the Black Hills are a weekend drive away. There's also lots of things that are close from that standpoint. We have a great bike path. A lot of people spend the time either running or walking or biking on that. Lots of great schools, so good opportunities for families, and just really a nice place to live. So good luck to all of you on your residency journey, and we look forward to seeing you during the interview process. Thank you.
Thank you. All those biking trails definitely have our attention.
23 miles of off the streets paved bike paths. It's a really nice place to get out and get some fresh air when you get the opportunity.
That is amazing. Thank you, Dr. Wagner. Our next program for the evening is University of Minnesota. If your representative could please unmute and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, you get to see me again. So I'm Emily Borman-Shope. I'm the program director here at the University of Minnesota. I just can't stop chuckling to myself, Chris, about the boat show at the Fargo Dome. I want to have like us muted and then have the West region people say it and us say it and see if the applicants can identify the true Midwest O. We program directors, you will learn, we all like each other a lot too, and have a real shared mission to train the next generation of pediatricians. So we're just excited for all of you wherever your next steps will take you. Our program is a little bigger than some of the other programs you've been hearing about. So we match 26 residents a year and have a large med peds program, which is 10 residents per year. We have a special training pathway for physician scientists. So if you're interested in research, I would certainly encourage you to check that out. I would say how I describe our program is liberal arts education. So there's a little something for everyone, and you can really come into our residency program ready to explore a few different options. And before I dive into that, I realized I didn't introduce my two buddies who nicely are sitting here with me. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'll dive back in. I have with me tonight Paige Dahlgren and Kayla Solstead, two of our chief residents. So you can say hello, and then I'll restart.
Hi, happy to be here.
Hi, everyone. So our residency program is unique in that our home base is the University of Minnesota, but our clinical training sites are more than one. So the University of Minnesota Masonic Children's Hospital is kind of home base for our residents. It's where they spend about half their time, really get to see a huge breadth of subspecialty training, as well as PICU, NICU, and emergency medicine. But we also partner closely with Children's Minnesota, which is another large separate health system with two big, beautiful freestanding children's hospitals. It's where we do a lot of our general inpatient pediatric time. It's a big continuity clinic site for us. And then Hennepin Healthcare is a site that's based really in the heart of Minneapolis and Hennepin County. That's an urban underserved safety net health system. So many of our residents who have an interest in urban medicine may choose to have their continuity clinic there. It's a health system that serves many of the immigrant and refugee families who live in Minneapolis and in greater Minnesota. We really take a lot of pride in supporting well-being, and we will all start to sound like broken records here. Some of the ways that we do that in our program are with a really flexible vacation policy. So residents can take their vacation 1 day at a time, or 7 days at a time, or 23 days at a time, however they choose. That's our PTO policy. We prioritize residents getting to their healthcare appointments if they need to, and really work with them on that. We have started a new initiative that we call opt-out counseling. So we found that many of our residents didn't take advantage of the free counseling services. So now we make it as easy as possible, and we make an appointment for you. I don't, someone else does. I'll never know if the residents use it or not, but we're really trying to remove any barriers to accessing help and making it easy for residents. Many of our residents start families or come in with families during residencies. For residents who start a family, we have 6 weeks of paid parental leave for both the birth parent and the non-birth parent. We have a caregiver elective, and then that flexible PTO time. So most of our non-birth parents take 10 to 12 weeks of leave, and our birth parents take 14 to 16 weeks of leave or more. From a curriculum standpoint, we have a structured curriculum that we call Block Ed. You would hear our residents call it that, but it's an academic half day. That's every Friday. Every single resident in our program is excused from their clinical work to come together just to learn. And that really shows a huge investment on the part of our fellows and faculty and advanced practice providers, because that's who's staying behind to watch the PICU and watch the patients on the floors. And it really has allowed us to do some neat things with curriculum. We've got a procedural skills curriculum, a patient safety and quality improvement curriculum, and able to do a lot of really neat things within that setting. From a diversity perspective, we welcome students to come for our diversity and pediatrics electives. So if you're a fourth-year U.S. medical student and still looking for opportunities, check out our website. We have moving stipends for underrepresented people who match with us. We have a Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Council that's made up of residents and fellows that helps to guide our curriculum and the initiatives that we're working on. And I used up the whole time. Lots more. Check out our website, check out our Instagram, check out our YouTube.
You have 30 more seconds if you want to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard for us to tell. The Twin Cities are amazing. There is nature, there is city stuff, there's amazing food scene, there's state fair, there's the bike trails. Anything you want, we probably have it. But it's not too big. I grew up in a town of 6,000 people, and I find it very manageable and fun to live here and have lived here for 20 years.
Thank you so much. I was kind of sold at annual Harry Potter party though. But that concludes the program overview portion of the evening. Now we will open up the floor to a live Q&A session. If anyone prefers to remain anonymous, please feel free to send me a personal message and I will address your questions to the program representatives. Our first question for the evening is, what percentage of your program graduates go on and work in primary care?
I can start if that's addressed to all the programs. So we're about 50-50. It depends on the year. We're a smaller class size, so some years it's skewed, but if you go back for like the 5-year average, we're about 50-50. So about half of our residents will graduate and go on to a general peds position. And about half our residents will go on to a fellowship position. So it's about 50-50, but again, some years are skewed more than others. Every class has a little bit of their own flavor, but it's about 50-50 in our program at Missouri.
Yeah, I would say ours is similar. Sometimes I'll say 60-40 one way or the other, depending on the year. You can, if you dig around on our program website, we have the past 3 or 4 years, so you can see where people have gone into. And because we have so many fellowships, we have 18 different fellowships here. So many of our residents stay here for fellowship, about half, and about half go other places. And they're very competitive on the fellowship trail because of the training they get with us.
The same is true in South Dakota, again, depending on the year, but on average about 50-50. And we're really excited that a lot of our residents choose to stay and work in the Sanford system in the area. That's great to see as well.
All right, well, for us, we don't know yet. Depends on what you all choose when you come here. Our mission is to generate both pediatricians and subspecialty pediatricians to be able to work in underserved areas or rural parts of the country. So both options are great for us.
Thank you. The next question is, what stands out to your program besides scores, and how to make yourself stand out as a candidate when you have a mediocre application?
Well, I hope no one put the phrase mediocre application. That is my first advice to you. Don't engage in negative self-talk. None of you have a mediocre application. You're all amazing people. We have not used USMLE scores really as any part of our filtering process for a very long time. So for our program, when step 1 went to pass fail, it was nothing. It didn't bother us at all. I think we are looking for people who clearly enjoy working with children. So there should be something on your resume that indicates that you enjoy working with children and families. And that you have had experiences or hope to have experiences that match up with the opportunities that we have to offer. So especially people with global health interest advocacy interest, research interest. Those are things that are strengths of our program. So if somebody comes in with a lot of experience, that shows us that they'll hit the ground running. But I think you guys all put a lot of stress on yourself to have this perfect application. And the good news is you're not applying to neurosurgery, you're applying to pediatrics.
I think that for South Dakota, we actually do take a real holistic approach and always have. We also have, we really pride ourselves in taking a personalized interest in your education and your career path. And so we're able to tailor your career trajectory, because we're a small program, to fit you into the career that you want to be in. And so as long as there's a fit within our program, and you have an interest in a career in pediatrics, we can usually find people to kind of really help guide you and steer you along the way. So that's kind of a little bit about South Dakota. We're definitely take a holistic approach to the application process.
Thank you. The next question is, what is the IMG ratio for like residents in each program?
It depends for our program here at Mizzou. It depends on the year as well, but we usually have 1 or 2 IMGs in each class of 8 per year in our program.
It varies for us as well, 3 to 6 per year out of our group of 26. And we really have also tried to be intentional about building community both within our program. So we have an IMG group that gets together once a quarter and has a meal and just talks about all the other stuff, like getting your driver's license, driving in the snow, my stupid visa paperwork got lost, like all that stuff that US grads kind of take for granted. There's so much that they can do to support one another. And then we have a really robust IMG community within the University of Minnesota as well.
Again, the same thing for us. It's about, depending on the year, excuse me, but with the number of residency programs we have, we see the same thing where everyone is helping find some place to live, getting all that paperwork done. The same with our coordinators, they're comfortable with helping with that process. So dependent on the year for South Dakota as well.
Thank you for that. The next question is, with interviews being virtual this year, what is the best way for applicants to get a feel of the program's culture?
Yeah, I guess from our perspective, it'd be, just seeing how you kind of vibe with the people that you're going to be working with for 3 years. What kind of a sense you get of, how the program displays how they will care for you, and yeah, for us it's difficult too, especially as a first year brand new program. We'd love to be able to have show people around in real life and show them Fargo is an actual real place, and it doesn't snow all the time, and at our children's hospital is wonderful. So it is going to be a little bit of a challenge.
Taking the opportunity to participate in things like this, talking to the residents that you're going to be working with, that'll give you, I think, a really great feel as well.
I agree. It's as far as talk to the residents. I mean, I think you're hearing the program director say very similar things, and that's our job. We're all very proud of our programs, but the residents are really, as Landon said, a window to the program. So the residents enjoying themselves, even on Zoom. I would say this is our 3rd year going on virtuals, and you can tell on Zoom how a program feels. Actually, I feel like it's nothing like in person, but you can tell a lot by program, even by the Zoom interviews or the open houses that are going to happen as well before interviews start. Are the residents engaged? Are they enjoying themselves? Do they know each other? Are they having fun with each other? Even on the Zoom chats, you can actually tell a lot about a program. So it does seem like the virtual interviews do work, and obviously it saves a lot of time and resources as well.
If you get the opportunity to look at websites, we have some great videos of our program and what it's like to be in Sioux Falls. That's a good chance to get an experience as well, since you won't get to visit.
Thank you, Dr. Wagner. The next question is, what would you expect to see in a personal statement? Also, I would like to thank the PDs for also replying in the chat. This makes the process really convenient. Thank you.
I'll just the question that was asked, like if there's something about your application that you feel won't be clear, I think that's a great place to do that. I do see, I think for international medical graduates in particular, find some place in your application where you can explain to us what your medical training was like. How many patients did I see? What were my responsibilities? What was the complexity of care that I was delivering? Because if we're not as familiar with your medical school or your training, we might not understand. So sometimes the personal statement is a good place to use a paragraph to do that as well.
Thank you. The next question for the evening is, how often is geographic connection considered when looking at an application?
I would say for us, the signals were pretty important, not so much the geographic. And I don't want to stress you out about the signals, because I know you all get stressed out already, but I just will be real with you that those are a discrete data field that is filterable. And I think it's a real challenge for programs because you all get nervous and you apply to 40 programs, which is way too many. So then we receive 1,000 applications and we got to find some way to try to like figure out, well, who really is interested in our program, like really, really interested. So somebody who has signaled us and given geographic preference to our region, you're investing in us with your digital token already, just as we invest in you with an interview day. So it does play, if at least for us, we do use the signals as one of the ways to do our first more intensive review of applications.
We use it as part of our holistic review process, the signal, and if there's injustice in the geographic area, partly to know if you're realistic about the weather you're going to deal with coming here. But that's also a great topic of conversation during an interview too. So it's part of the whole process. It's but yeah, I guess it's a tool that we use to just kind of, like has been mentioned, get a feel for the fit for you and for us working together.
Thank you, everyone. The next question is, any recommendations for couple matching, reapplicants, or older applicants?
I can give the resident perspective of someone who successfully couples matched. My partner's an OBGYN resident and we both couples matched at University of Minnesota. And I know that people will tell you to not email programs. And I think that that is advice, sorry, program directors, for the people who are not couples matching, because it is also, I think, a powerful thing to tie you in addition to these signals to say, my partner is interviewing at this program. I too would like to live with them in this place, even though neither of us have been to, I don't know, Minnesota before. We moved to Minnesota sight unseen because it was COVID. We interviewed there and then we didn't come back again until we moved. And so I think using each other, and you can get interviews places by telling them my partner has an interview. I don't have any advice about taking gap years and things like that. Best of luck. That sounds hard.
Thank you. That was very helpful. One of the things that we've made tradition in our breakout room is asking for a theme song for your programs. So let's hear the creativity our program directors have.
Why? Okay, so this should be in our wheelhouse because one of the things that we're trying to promote with our program is connection to humanities and creativity as part of it. But to come up with just one song, boy, I don't know. I mean, I guess it'd have to be something Taylor Swift-ish, but which one? Hard to say. Although maybe I was going to say part in the USA, but maybe, I don't know.
You know what my favorite thing about the whole FuturePedsRes thing is that you get to see program directors put in the position that all of you are as applicants, where we're like, we got to show up to the webinar, and there's like, oh no, I can't get in. They're going to think we have a bad program because I'm bad at Zoom. Then we get asked a question, we don't know how to answer it. So even program directors worry about making a good impression, and it's okay. Maybe you weren't worried, Chris. I love your answer. That was a great one. I can only go with Prince, Minnesota hometown hero, Purple Rain.
We love that. And we take our opportunities every now and then. Program. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm also showing my 80s. Yes, Eye of the Tiger, Mizzou Tigers, of course. So, and then Sweet Child of Mine, the little Peds, the little Guns N' Roses as well. So I would go with those two.
We love
what popped to mind for me for South Dakota was like small town girl, but that's not a great representation of all that we do either. So I think just, a chance to see where your dreams will take you. So whatever theme song that would be.
Thank you, everyone. That was very kind of all of you to participate. So the next question is, what is something about your program that you're proud of and something that you're trying to improve?
One thing I neglected to mention earlier, so I'm glad you asked this question. I'm really proud of our resident-led food drive. It's something that started 10 years ago by a resident, and it has now become this multi-department friendly competition to support our local food bank. Our first year we raised, I think, $5,000, and now we're over $68,000 amongst departments which can really, I think $1 can buy 17 pounds of food based on how our food bank can raise funds. So it's something that's resident-led and makes me very proud. Our residents are very busy, working really hard, taking care of our kids, but also still have the time to take care of the children in our community. And so that's something I'm very proud of. It's nothing I really do. It's just our residents just really take the initiative every year. So I neglected to mention earlier, so thanks for asking that question. I'm very proud of our residents' involvement with our food bank.
Thank you for answering. Community service like that really gets us going.
A couple of things I would say from South Dakota. We have every year we have a resident retreat where they get to go to a resort or hotel or something near us, and their families are allowed to participate as well. So it's a chance for the residents to get to just spend some time together, do some team building, and really get to know each other and their families. I think that's great. We also do a curriculum retreat every year, which is faculty and residents together. We take the opportunity to look at feedback from all the rotations, any new criteria that might be coming out, or recommendations as far as rotations and required parts of the curriculum. But we encourage the residents to come and share their opinion and their thoughts. And we have great residents that have done that every year that we've done both retreats. We are working on feedback. I think that's an area that's always a great place to continue to expand and grow. And we look at that every year to make sure we're doing our best with that.
That sounds great. Thank you, Dr. Wagner. The next question is US clinical experience important for application?
Yes. I'm sorry to just be so blunt about it, but it is. So I think if you don't have it, I know that's it's such a horrible cycle for IMGs because you can't get it if you don't have it, but so I think, yes, it's important, but there can be ways around it. So I think use your networking like nobody's business, right? Find other people from your training program who've successfully matched into US programs. Find the person you're doing research with, have them reach out on your behalf. if you're doing research that uses the EMR, make sure that's clear. Yes, I haven't done hands-on clinical work, but I know how to use APIC really well. So I think there may be ways to demonstrate the kind of skills that a residency program would want you to have, even if you haven't had a traditional rotation.
I would agree. Well answered.
Thank you. That was very helpful. Our next question is, are the program directors looking for something specific in the letter of recommendations?
I will say I'm looking to see the level of connection, and so you can tell when the letter writer really knows the applicant, and so I think be really particular at to have the person write your letter to actually be someone that you work with that knows you very well, because that really you can tell when a letter is more generic or form, and when the letter writer is really enthusiastic about the person they're writing a letter for, you can tell from the way the letter is written.
Especially if there's a longitudinal component to your relationship with that person, and they can speak to how you've grown in the time they've known you, new skills you developed. That's also stands out very well, very clearly.
I think it's also okay to tell your letter writers, I would love for you to highlight X, Y, and Z thing about me when you write this letter. And you can say like, oh, and I know in general, pediatric recommendation letters are about a full page. They should describe because sometimes surgeons write really short letters and they think they're writing something that's like super great, the best letter they've ever written. It's 3 sentences, and that's just not what we're used to receiving in pediatrics. So it should fill up a page. It should be personalized, but it's okay to say, hey, will you make sure to talk about these things about me that we've worked on together, or that you know about me, because they're writing a letter for you. They like you already, so you can help them do their best to help you.
Yeah, I do exactly that when I'm writing letters for someone. I was like, after we have our conversations, is there anything you want to make sure that I highlight and pop in there for you? And that does, give an opportunity to tell a good story, or to open another facets on you as an individual, that program will that insight can be very helpful.
I agree with all that advice. I also like to see if how someone works with children and families. So if you can ask your letter writer to comment on how I work with children and families, because that's certainly how we our residents will be viewed. So if you can it's perfectly okay to ask your letter writer to specify certain things, and I would certainly say, can you please comment on how I work with children and families, or my communication skills? I think those are nice things to highlight in a letter.
That is such great advice. Going off of this conversation, what are your thoughts about letters from other specialties?
I think it's great. Again, if they can highlight those areas I mentioned earlier, family medicine or surgery, and if they see you working with children and families, communication skills, I think those can be highlighted outside peds. It's nice to have some peds letters, of course, but we certainly like seeing letters from other programs, other specialties as well.
Yeah, I think that could be very helpful to see how you perform it, and maybe in a rotation that's not your favorite rotation. I mean, we expect you love peds, you're going to do great in peds, right? But how do you do in surgery? Maybe that tells me an extra little additional piece of information that could be helpful to you.
Thank you. As we're approaching the end of our program overview portion of the evening, we have time for one last question, if there is any. All right, I don't see any questions. Hopefully everyone got a chance to learn a bit more about our West, North, Central, and Mountain West programs. We want to repeat how grateful we are to all the program directors, coordinators, and other representatives who took the time out to join us tonight. We will now request our program representatives to kindly log off as we transition to our resident panel portion of the evening.